Thank you for joining us tonight for Coronavirus, A Path Forward. I'm Glenn Mills. We're coming at you live from Utah's Capitol Hill. We're having a conversation with the gubernatorial candidates here in the state of Utah. How would they move forward if they are elected governor and getting us back on the track to recovery? And we are digging into the issues that matter to you, the Utah voter. This week, we are joined by former House Speaker Greg Hughes, and we decided to come outside. It's such a beautiful night here in the capital city. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Great to be here. It's great to be here. Memorial Day. It's a good day.
Okay, when we started this, when you entered the race, you came on my show. We had no idea what was about to happen.
We didn't. This pandemic came upon us very quickly. We knew about it generally. We saw what was happening in China and Europe. It happened very quickly, and I think that those are challenging times.
Yeah, I want to get to one of the topics that's on many minds all across the state, and that is the financial devastation that many Utahns have faced. We want to know how you would help get them back on track. We've seen record unemployment. We've seen businesses closing down. What is the path forward to getting people back to work in the state of Utah?
Glenn, and I'm glad you framed it that way, because I want to make sure people understand the fiscal analysts from the legislature and from our state capitol, they're saying that just to get back to where we were in that first week of March could take 2 to 4 years for us to get back to where we were just a little more than 2 months ago. So that's a big deal. What we have to do is we have to get back. The regulatory climate has to be lowered. But before we get to the regulatory climate, we got to get back to work now. Not with a color code either. I don't want a yellow or an orange. We know how.
So if you were governor right now, you would go right to green.
Absolutely.
At this point.
Without pause, without hesitation. And what you do, here's the issue. It's in your best interest and my best interest that we be healthy. It's in the best interest of any business owner to have their employees that are healthy and the patrons healthy. Our interests overlap and align on this perfectly. You don't need the government to tell you how you're going to do this. You give good information, you let good information drive good decisions, and then we do have some vulnerable populations that you could suggest, encourage, promote self-quarantine for all the older populations and those that are medically frail, but you can do it in a vertical way, get people back to work right away. That's about the biggest thing you could do right now.
Okay, but we've seen a couple of examples, 2 in Utah County,
yes,
where they were not following the guidelines that we were getting from the state and from the CDC, and they became hotspots. So
yes.
How do you balance between getting back to work and public health?
I think there's a consequence for that. I'm sure that business is not open today because of the lack of precautions. What they did is having its impact. It's like the health department when you have restaurants and that you got to keep food handlers have to be permitted and they have to do things in a safe way. And when there are times when those restaurants have not followed those rules, but there's a consequence for doing that. And I think in this economy, let's just put it this way: the federal government can't print money to replace an economy. These are tough times. These are not. We cannot be immune to the challenges you're pointing out. But with that said, the only way forward is economic activity and not interrupting people's household incomes so they can support their households and getting these businesses back open.
Okay, so just to be clear, you say green now, but
yes,
there are precautions that need to be taken?
Yes, absolutely. And I guess, Glenn, my point is you don't need this state government to tell us as citizens how to do it, or worse, if you explain a process that is so cumbersome or you can only have so many people in some code of yellow, it's not practical, and people are going to get back to work because they have to, and then they're doing it in the absence of any plan. So the plan has to be to make sure that there's good information, that the way we take precautions are that we're doing that and exercising that, but it's on us as business owners, as customers, as citizens of this country.
In the event you go to green and we start to see hotspots picking back up, would you and your advisors come to you and say, look, we're not on top of this, we need to shut it down again? Would you be willing to do that?
What we have learned since March, when this came upon us so quickly, we're learning who the vulnerable populations are. We know that it's the older community, it's the medically frail or vulnerable, those with underlying health conditions. You can vertically quarantine or encourage people. Look, if you're older, you might be on a fixed income or retired and you're not working 40 hours a week in manufacturing, for instance. We will never have to shut down this economy as we did before. We're not going to dig. It's going to take us 2 to 4 years to dig out of it now.
We have an option here where we allowed some of our viewers to send in some questions. We're going to get into some of those real quick. This comes from Tim Funk of Salt Lake City. He says 30% of Utah residents are renters. Thousands of them have lost their jobs or have reduced work hours and are behind on their rent. What would you do to help make sure renters are not evicted and risk becoming homeless?
So I'm a small business owner, and I own apartments. This is my livelihood. You can't look at this so myopic as to say there's no business plan where you can own an apartment building or manage it or have your people who our common areas have to be especially clean right now. The cost of having a safe place to live still exists for those that own those properties. So how we create the solutions. The people that will lease apartments, they have to get back to work. Their income cannot be interrupted any longer. Right now, there's deferral agreements that can be made where you work with the landlord and how you're going to pay your rent moving forward, because even those that own the apartments, they have mortgages, they have overhead, they have employees. These circumstances are not just exclusive to one group of people or the other. This whole economy is being impacted in a negative way, and so we'll work through those things, but I don't know any path that doesn't insist on us getting back to work again.
Okay, when we talk about the economy and moving it forward, rural Utah often becomes a part of that conversation. Yes. Here is another question from a viewer.
Hello, my name is Jesse Harris. I live in Cedar City. I would like to know what each candidate for governor will do to improve the state of broadband in Utah, particularly in rural and underserved communities.
So, telecommuting, rural broadband, absolutely essential. But let's just be honest here. Those are usually professional services jobs. That's a third of the jobs that we have in the state of Utah. That's not manufacturing. That's not agriculture. It's not an extraction industry. There's many industries in rural Utah where telecommuting or using broadband in terms of the jobs you would see in Salt Lake City don't match. There's a portion for that, and we need to make sure that's there. But what is
the portion of that? What role does government play in expanding broadband in rural Utah?
Just making sure the corridors that to get to those places. That's a challenge when 67% of the state is federally owned land. Just power corridors, water corridors, infrastructure for broadband. Those corridors of how you reach those communities are the biggest challenge and the biggest hurdle. That's where state government through infrastructure all the infrastructure in rural Utah needs to improve, not just broadband. It needs to be water and rail and roads.
All right, we need to move on. Still ahead for months, Utah
You got me talking fast here, I'm telling you.
We got to keep moving.
I'm trying.
All right, for months, Utah schools have been empty, and it could be a lot longer before things get back to normal. So what could education look like in Utah in the future? We'll get into that next.